So we're talking about layers here, and we're going to continue to understand layers. When we moved the object around and we moved it from one spot to the next, we didn't go and look at the layers. So here I've got these layers now, and you can see that I've got the inserted image at the top. Now normally what I would do is, if I was in another program, I would make sure that I name all these layers so I know what these things are, which is going to come in handy later on, but we don't have to do it just yet. But if we wanted to do this, we could easily just go and rename it here just by tapping on the words here, and you get lots of options that we're going to learn about later on, because these are really handy for when we come to paint on top of layers and we don't want to disturb everything else around it, but we can go and paint. And it's a bit like putting tape on or a mask around the outside so we don't disturb it. But normally I would rename it, and so I would do that and just call it whatever it is. Okay, next job is duplicating this layer so that we're able to go and use multiple pieces of this. Normally I keep a duplicated layer so that I don't lose this object in here, and in case I make a mistake, it's like my insurance really. So what I can do is just swipe from the side here like that, and you can see I get other options in here. I get lock, duplicate, and delete. I'm going to go and duplicate this time like that, and now you can see that I've now got this this insurance. I can see it when I go and tap on this tick here, so I can turn my layers on. What I'm able to do now is I can go and see what's happening with this one here, and I can put it on its own. And I maybe just want to have a different color. This time I might want to go and use a yellow, and I can go and paint that one in yellow. So next job is to go and make sure that I've got these objects and I'm in this layer here. I'm going to use this, I'm going to edit this one here, and I edit this one because it's highlighted blue. I'm not editing this one. This is highlighted blue, and what I'm going to do is just move this one out of the way like this. I'm going to go and put it on top of the orange one so it looks like it's disappeared. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to show you what happens when we make mistakes. Lots of people do this, and it is a skill to get used to understanding how layers work. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use my eraser, and on my pencil I can double tap on here like that, or I can use my eraser at the top. And my eraser can be any kind of brush that I want. If I want to sort of just take paint away, I can use that later on. We can talk about that later. But all I'm going to do first is just use a medium brush in my airbrush here as my eraser. So my eraser is now going to be an airbrush. We're going to deliberately make a mistake. We are going to think that we are going to try and take the yellow away. And what's going to happen is I'm really going to be accidentally in my orange layer. So let's go into the orange layer like this, and it's in blue. And I've forgotten by accident that I'm not in that layer, and I'm trying to erase some of the outside of this yellow circle. I'm trying to go and make the edges softer because at the moment it's a bit too hard. I'm going to bring my opacity down. I'm going to make my airbrush like so. And then what I'm going to do is just start to think about how I would try and make this edge softer. And you can see that nothing is really happening to the outside of my yellow circle because I have accidentally edited the orange one underneath. And you can see that that is the case by that. You can see that even though I've tried to continue doing it, nothing's really happening to the outside of my yellow circle. So it's really important that we make sure that we are working in the correct layer, and so that we can see what's going on immediately as though it is artwork that we are using. Because really what I wanted to do was to create a sun. Right, that's understanding layers simply. And next what we're going to do is understand how to lock something, and so that we don't disturb the objects underneath.